And this is the kitchen that we're wrapping this week. We're having light green interior film for the cupboards, the pelmets, plinths and all the carcass sections, and then we're having a dark wood worktop for the tops. Customers keeping the hob, they're going to change the sink, and we're also going to put new handle positions in. So we're going to have new longer handles for the customer to open up. I'm going to keep some style and character to the kitchen, but modernise it in regards to colour. Jack from Samsara Developments is on it this week with me. Much appreciated, as my mate Deck has gone on holiday and left me. He's gone to Mexico. Cry Deck. So Jack's come on board and he's going to help us wrap this kitchen this week. But first step is we're going to mark up all the doors, tack off all the handles, tack off all the doors, and then I'm going to get started on the carcass sections while Jack gets started on some doors. Let's get it. So as I said before, customers have a new handle, so we're going to skim these with a bit more 2-part wood filler, and then we're going to drill the new handle position, and we're going to take the doors off, ready to be cleaned and primed. So I'm going to use my set square to find where I need to put the new handle hole. I've set it at 200mm, and that's because the first hole centre is 40mm from the bottom of the door, and the handle centres are 160mm, so add them together and that's 200mm. I'm going to set this nice and central, and that should be the point of my new handle. What I'll do is I'll just get the handle. I just like to check the centres first. Does it look like it's right? Yeah. Is that central and in line with both of the existing holes? Yes. And then I like to use a slightly bigger bit. And then before I move on, I'm just going to double check that it fits, which it does, and that's how the new handle is going to fit. Next step, we're just going to fill this existing handle hole here, just to make it nice and smooth, as the interior film that we're going to use is quite flat, and we don't want it to show through. So we're going to use a 2-part wood filler. We'll normally use something like Ronseal, because we can mix it up and it'll go off nice and quick. Wood filler, bit of activator. I like to use a bit more than what it says. It says a pea size, but we actually want it to go off at some point today. And then give it a good mix together. And then once it's well mixed, you can start to put it onto the door. So we took all the doors off the kitchen, and now Jack's outside filling and sanding. Giving everything a quick blitz, just taking off any dirt. And making the surface as smooth as possible, ready for us to wrap. After this, we're going to give it a quick clean and prime with some alcohol and some Primer 94. And then we'll be ready to wrap. So Jack's just cleaned and primed all these doors. He's just onto his last one now. We are using 3M Primer 94 for the majority of the doors. He's using a 70% alcohol and a 30% water mix. He's cleaning over all the doors, around the edges of the doors and onto the backs as well. And then we're going to prime it, fronts, edges and backs with the 3M Primer 94. Jack's just started wrapping. We've got a couple of doors out the way. I just finished sanding this end panel. There had a couple of holes in it that needed touching up, so I'm going to clean and prime all the carcass sections now and then start wrapping them. We've just put a door back on for the customer just so that she can see when she comes back in the next 20 minutes or so, and then it's a nice bit of a teaser to see what our kitchen's going to end up looking like. And this is what we got up to yesterday. Got all the top cabinets done. Got my mate Lottie here as well. Bottom drawer stack. I've got a little bit in the corners to get finished. And a couple of strips. We're going to take this door back off, ready for the worktops to be wrapped. And we've got this inner cabinet section done as well. Sink's been taken out. Got silicone around the edges is out. Got a little bit to take out around the hob. And then clean, prime, I'm going to wrap it in a dark wood textured interior film. So we've just got the last corniche on and we've finished this corner panel down here. I've scraped out quite a bit of the silicone around the edges and around the hob. Hob's staying in because it's gas. Customers don't want to remove it, but they have been able to remove the sink for us because they're putting a new one in, which is great. It means that we'll get a nice tight cut round here, and then the sink will fit back on top and it'll be nice and sealed. This we're going to have to be a little bit more careful of. We're going to have to cut round, leave as little tension as possible. Plenty of prime around the edges of here to prevent any contraction of the vinyl, and then we're going to silicone around the edge with some light grey. I think light grey will go better than white, as there's quite a lot of grey tones in the tiles on the splashbacks. This worktop has some of these dividing sections in here as well. I can't get these out. They're boxed in underneath the cabinets, so we're going to wrap over the top of them. It's not something that I've really done before, but they're a bluish colour, and if we're putting a dark wood grain over, it's not going to look great if I just cut to the edge of them. Customer could paint them. If she has any problems down the line, I can come back, I can cut them out. But I don't really think she's going to have many issues. I'm going to prime either side of the worktop and on top. I'm going to butt up and in. I'm not going to lay over the top and then heat on, because that's where we can get some contraction, and we can end up with like a bubbled edge on here and on this side here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to butt right in nice and tight, use a light bit of heat and fold over and onto the other side of here as well. But before we start, We're going to get the marker out, we're going to sand the whole section of the worktop, and then we're going to clean it with a alcohol-based cleaner, so it's 70% isopropanol and 30% water. And then we're going to prime it with a 3M Primer 94 on all the surfaces on top, all these sections here, all the edges, plenty around the hob, and where the sink's going to go. And then underneath we're going to use a water-based primer, same as yesterday, vinyl specific, LX houses, PM04 on all these sections underneath, which are a bit cardboardy, because it's going to create a good seal and then allow good adhesion to the underneath of the work surface. So I've just come back from having some dinner and we've got one side of the worktop on. And we've put the doors back on to show the customer what it's going to look like. They're going to put the new sink in afterwards. So we've wrapped round over onto this edge section here, and the strips that look like this, we've wrapped over, and we've left a 4mm overlap onto this piece here. We're going to prime this overlap section of vinyl, and we're going to butt in the next section of vinyl up to here. And then hopefully we're going to get a nice neat join against this strip here. First things first, get some primer, stick it onto there, and then we're going to wrap this section. Yeah, there's a breakfast bar area here with the off-cut vinyl. We're going to wrap that to match. your kitchen. Pale green doors, carcasses, plinths and pelmets, and a dark wood grain style worktop. The customer's chosen a porcelain sink, which we think adds to the character of the kitchen, and they're having that fitted this evening, which is why it's sat in place ready to be plumbed in. Let us know what you think of the kitchen in the comments, and if you like the video, please like, share and subscribe. It helps us make more videos just like this one.